Welcome to the FGTN show. We are live. I'm your host, Alex Tim, and tonight we're covering record breaking fishing numbers, Garmin's Q2 results. I'm super excited to talk about that. Mille Lacs lake regulation changes for the better. This is a good news stream and new clam gear and some solid deals you will not want to miss when we get to the end. If you're watching live, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know if you've been sitting around waiting for me to go live here because I know I'm a little bit later than I was supposed to be, per usual. That's the status quo around here. We kind of show up once we get all the stuff ready to go. And if you're on the replay squad, drop a comment with what kind of fishing content you're into right now. Are you watching people out fishing? Are you looking at gear stuff, tech stuff, getting ready for ice season? Let me know down in the comments. What's up, Shane? Nice to see you here. Kentucky, love it. Like to see it. We'll go ahead and get myself off the screen here and jump right on in. But yeah, drop it down in there. What up, Blaine? Nice to see you there. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for being a member of the channel. All right. First topic for tonight is the 2025 special report on fishing. This is for the entire United States. So this is not just one state. I know this does not include Canada, so I apologize for that. Maybe if Canada has something like this, we can talk about it as well in the future. But for 2025, this is the special report on fishing. So this is using 2024 data. 57, and it's bad font, probably hard to read here, but 57.9 million Americans went fishing in 2024, the highest participation on record. There were 21.3 million women that went fishing in 2024, the highest number of female participants on record. 6.6 million Hispanic Americans went fishing. The participation nearly doubled since last decade. 36.6 million men went fishing, the highest number of male participants on record. 5.5 million Black Americans went fishing in 2024, the highest number since tracking began in 2007. We'll talk about some of the data down below as well, but 85% of current fishing participants fished before the age of 12. So this just goes to show how important it is to get the youth out fishing if we want them to stay and enjoy the sport. And it can just be going with you, doing family trips, doing your annual outing. This just states that they fished before they were 12 at least once or twice, right? And 12.7 million youth went fishing last year. 22% of US households with children fished versus 16% without children. So let's go ahead and jump down into some of the data here. I thought this was pretty crazy. In 2024, 57.9 million Americans ages 6 and up took to the nation's waterways to enjoy recreational fishing, an all-time high 19% of the US population. Think about that though. 19% is about 20%. 1 in 5 people that live in the US went fishing. So when we talk about how big this industry is, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a small industry." This industry is massive. 1 in 5 people did it last year here in America. So anyways, it is massive. It continues to grow. And as they outlined here, it continues to underscore the critical importance of introducing fishing at a young age. So a lot of the data points that we had already hit on. What I think is interesting here is that 5.1 million Americans tried fishing for the first time in 2024. 5 million people that have never fished before tried it for the first time in 2024. That was 9% of the total participants. So roughly 10% of the people that fished last year did it for the first time, and that is up from 7% in 2023. I'm not going to just repeat stats here, but some of this stuff I think is actually kind of interesting. Um, for freshwater, more than 43 million Americans ages 6 and over went freshwater fishing in 2024. That's holding steady for the third consecutive year. After hitting 15 million anglers for the first time in 2023, saltwater fishing participation grew slightly to 15.1 million. So if you've ever wondered, is there a bigger saltwater or freshwater fishing population? This tells us right here, 15.1 million saltwater last year and 43 million freshwater. So freshwater is definitely a bigger market, but freshwater stayed pretty steady. Saltwater grew. Fly fishing topped more than 8 million participants. We already talked about men and women. Both are their highest number on record, which is exciting to see. I'm honestly a little bit surprised by the number of women, like the ratio. I think is interesting. I for sure thought it was a lot more men, but what I think is that um, this is just saying they went fishing last year. It doesn't uh, tell you how many times they went fishing. My speculation is men go fishing more frequently than women do. That could just be a total stereotype that I have, but what's interesting here is the data showing 21 million women and 36 million men went fishing. But again, that could be if a woman went once and a man went 20 times, it only counts as one for each. So we don't have that level of detail, but I am very happy to see. I wish this was a 50-50 split. I want to get and see more women in the sport. I think that's great. Um, yeah. So, anyways, just some data. I know sometimes we talk about numbers, like we're going to talk about some revenue numbers and how the industry is doing as relates to Garmin here in a second. That's actually the next topic up. But I wanted to get this in front of you in case you're interested. How big's the industry? How many people are fishing here? And I know I'm sorry to all the Canadians that watch. I will try and find some data for you, but I'll link all this down below if you want to check it out after the stream. Mac, what up? Did you hear this week that this fall Mille Lacs walleye limit to increase to 3? I did, and we're going to talk about it here. That is coming up here in a few topics. So thanks, Mac. I appreciate it. And yes, we'll talk about it here. So Garmin today announced their Q2 2025 earnings results. And they updated their full year guidance. So here's the highlights. I'll leave this up here, and I wrote down some notes that I'm gonna go through here, while you're looking at these highlights, and then we'll kinda go from there. So the highlights here are up on the screen. Um, so first thing that I wanna talk about here is Garmin as a whole, as we can see, posted the strongest second quarter ever. Ever. That's massive. Garmin is doing really freaking good right now, and we're gonna talk about why. Their revenue in Q2 as a whole, not just their marine segment, because remember, they've got aviation, they've got sports and fitness, wearables, they've got a lot of other categories as well. But the revenue hit 1.81 billion holistically, up 20% year over year. Their operating income was up 38%, and margins are expanding across the board. Every single segment saw double-digit growth, and that's not something that we've seen from many, like, of their competitors. Like, you look at Humminbird, you look at Lowrance, you look at any of their competition, this is, like, unheard of right now. So we're gonna talk about why do we think this could be happening with them. Okay, so let's break it down specifically to the marine side of it. Um, we've got Garmin's Marine division brought in 200. Let me flip over to the actual earnings page here. So they throw out a PDF with it too that goes into the detail. And we can see, I'll highlight it on the screen here, the actual marine segment. Trying to zoom in so it's bigger for everybody here. Here's the marine segment. The marine segment brought in $299.3 million in revenue in Q2. That's up 10% compared to the same time last year. And even though that is a nice jump, what's interesting is how they got there. There was no new live scope drops, no new Force Kraken drops during the time frame. We of course know about the announcement that came out now, and no surprise budget bundles flying off the shelves. This growth that they had came from what Garmin called, because they talked about it, they called it multiple categories, but primarily led by chart plotters in the marine segment. and they specifically pointed out the launch of that GPS map, the 15X3 series, the one that we talked about, the ultra wide. So that's the big product that launched in Q2. And they said chart plotters drove the category in the quarter. So I think that's good to know. The premium, the ultra wide chart plotters aimed at the serious people, because the ultra wides are really for more of that console boat if you wanted it flush mounted or even not flush mounted, but it's the wide screen, not as tall. They also launched the Quatix 8 smartwatch, which is a high-end wearable purpose-built for mariners. And yes, even though it's a smartwatch, it does roll into the marine segment and not fitness, which is important to know because that was one of the things that I looked at. I'm like, this is a watch. Doesn't it roll into fitness with their other watches? This one's specific to marine. Um, so let's talk about it, because what raised a few red flags for me is how did they jump 10%? Like, this seems crazy. You guys tell me, does it seem crazy that all of the competition is like fighting to stay flat or actually in a downward trend for earnings? And look at this year over year change for the quarter. 20% overall, 41% fitness, 11% outdoor, 14% aviation, 10% up in marine, and 16% up in auto OEM. Here's what I think. July 1st, if you don't know, was a price hike across Garmin. So Garmin raised prices on a ton of marine gear, live scope bundles, transducers, trolling motors, you name it in marine, almost everything went up in price and in all of the other categories. So here's what my thought is. It's very possible that some of that quarter two spike that we're seeing was just sales that were pulled forward. Buyers rushed out to grab gear before the price went up. The price went up, was it uh, $200 on LiveScope Plus? I think it was either 100 or $200 on LiveScope Plus. Every screen went up in price as well. So if somebody was looking and they knew about it, because Garmin did tell us about it, I think that most people knew probably about a month ahead of time if you were paying attention. I know I talked about it probably 2 weeks ahead of time, and encouraged people to go buy them. Like those bundles on the LiveScope Plus with the Ultra 2s, either the 10 or the 12-inch screen, those went up. One of them went up, I think, by $200, and one of them went up by like $400 or $500. So they went up quite a bit as well. So I think that's something that we saw happen. And what will be interesting is that would then be a short-term lift, not long-term momentum, which means will Q3 show us the opposite impact? That'll be interesting to see. Second, some of Garmin's biggest new product launches didn't actually land in Q2. Now, kind of focus back on the marine segment. The new Ultra 2 16-inch screens that we had talked about, they were only soft launched and there was no real push and there were no sales. So that means that did not help the Q2 sales, and that will show up in Q3. The same goes for the new 110-inch Force Kraken, which I know that's probably more niche and for like saltwater anglers, but then also the new kayak trolling motor that they announced that we talked about coming out of iCast as well. All three of those were launched after Q2 closed, and so sales will be impacting Q3, which is a good thing for Q3, but none of those actually impacted the sales in Q2. So, looking at the margins, gross margin in the marine actually went up slightly to 55%, but operating margin did dip down just a hair to 21%. What that tells me is that they're making good money for every unit that they sell, but they might be spending more on either logistics, R&D, or marketing to support what's coming next. We know they spent a ton on R&D, but we don't know what category they spent it in. Either way, the marine industry is still a high margin business for them. As for tariffs, they didn't mention anything specific to tariffs. And what that usually means is it's not a current issue. So Garmin may have baked in future uncertainty into the July price increases, which I believe is what they kind of announced that they said they were doing. Hey, the cost of this stuff is going up, so we're unfortunately going to have to raise prices. People are going to say, well, I'm going to buy, which is in Q2, before the prices go up, which is going to show a strong Q2. Who knows what's going to happen in Q3? Are we going to see significant slowing because people already bought? Or are we going to see trends relatively continue as well? We'll see. But I think bottom line, we saw Garmin had a fantastic quarter and they didn't touch live scope. There was no new live scope, nothing came out. Now, what do we think will happen? I think Garmin is likely going to do a Q4 launch of a product. I don't know what it is. I hope it's a new live scope. I have no clue. It would be a little bit weird if it was live scope at that time, but I think they're going to need something around holiday at this point. So we'll see. But that's the deal on Garmin. I will post all of this, the links to all this stuff down in the description and pinned in the chat as soon as the stream is over. What up, Blaine? Again. What up, Charles? Nice to see you guys here. All right, moving on to the next topic. We got exactly what we were talking about in the chat a little bit. Slow biting walleyes mean anglers can keep more on Mille Lacs. The DNR will loosen the daily limit from 2 fish to 3 fish after finding the lake is far behind its annual allowed harvest. Lake Mille Lacs, if you're a walleye fisherman and you fish that lake or want to go fish that lake, this is actually really good news. Anglers on Mille Lacs will be able to keep an extra walleye soon. The daily limit will increase from 2 to 3 fish. Let me make sure this is big enough. It is not big enough for you all. Let me zoom in. From 2 to 3 fish after a slow bite this summer has meant fewer fish have been harvested from central Minnesota's premier walleye lake. Only about 22% of the state's annual Mille Lacs walleye quota has been met as of July 15th, according to the DNR. Department managers presented the new plan to increase the harvest at a meeting on Wednesday. Our plan for Mille Lacs says that the state will try to maximize the allowed walleye harvest. Hopefully, the bite picks back up. The DNR aims to put the change into effect September 1st or sooner. I can't find any official announcement on the DNR page about this, so this is not locked in yet in terms of the date that it will happen. The agency loosened the walleye bag limit on Mille Lacs this year by allowing anglers to keep 2 walleye 17 inches or larger. The size restriction will not change when the third fish is allowed. Only one of the 3 keepers can be kept. One of the 3 keepers can be over 20 inches long. The DNR and Ojibwe, with fishing rights on the lake, agreed to drastically cut walleye harvest on Mille Lacs more than a decade ago. There were concerns over low survival rates of young walleyes and changing ecological conditions. Last year, for instance, state licensed anglers could only catch and release until August 16th. Said 2012 was the last time that the daily walleye limit on Mille Lacs was set as high as 3 fish. We're back to 3 fish soon, September 1st, supposedly. Since 2012, we haven't been able to do that. This is good news. The DNR officials said they believed they were taking an aggressive approach this year when they set a 2 fish limit starting on opening day. The lake's walleye population has been growing with ample quantities of cisco and perch serving this forage. Those factors led to state and tribal biologists to increase the 2025 walleye harvest quota by 24% from a year ago. The state share rose to 113,600 pounds, while the tribes increased to 88,000. At the Wednesday meeting, let's see, let's skip through some of this stuff here. The DNR reported that Mille Lacs has sizable young crop of walleyes averaging about 10 inches. They're too small to keep, but they are easily the most frequently caught class of walleyes. They'll grow to be spawners and harvestable fish. Night fishing for walleyes and Mille Lacs will open this year on September 1st, but next year, night fishing hours may be extended throughout the entire fishing season. In addition, the DNR might allow additional hours of fishing every night. This year's night fishing hours will run until 10 p.m., remaining closed until 6 a.m. And then there's some updates here around muskies. They're looking to stock them every year and more than the 3,000 every other year that they're currently doing. So that's the latest and greatest on Mille Lacs. I know not everybody here is from Minnesota or fishes Minnesota, so we're going to move on, but I'll have it linked down below and I'll keep you posted as the DNR officially releases the date that comes out. Next up, as I take a quick drink here, is I'm going to show you a quick short video. It's a minute-long video. I'm super jazzed about this. I love Scheels. It's my favorite sporting goods store for sure. Now, granted, I'm not saying I don't shop others because I definitely do a ton of others, small mom and pop ones, all the way up to some of the big ones. Yep, I still go to Cabela's every once in a while. But Scheels is coming to Blaine, Minnesota. So if you're around Blaine, Minnesota area, I think you'll like this. This is just a quick video from the city talking about the new Shield store going to be opening up. We're going to flip through a couple of photos, get excited about it, and then we're going to move on to the next topic here, which is actually going to be ice gear next. Clam has new product that they announced about a week ago. All right, let me play this. And again, minute 21.
We are so excited to announce that Shields is coming to the city of Blaine. Them coming to the city of Blaine is an absolute game changer. We are so thrilled and excited for this partnership and for them to be planting a flag in the city of Blaine.
Shields plans on opening a 250,000 square foot store in the summer of 2028 on 105th Avenue in the city's new entertainment district.
The proximity to the sports center is absolutely incredible.
For Shields, Blaine was a perfect fit.
When we open a new store, again, we'll have 500 people. We need about 50 people to transfer to bring our culture. And so we need to open a store in a location that our employees will want to live. And obviously this is just a great area, access to Minneapolis, St. Paul, access to the lakes. It's just a great community.
And for the city of Blaine, the mayor is excited to have an anchor tenant for this new development.
You know, we are a sports and recreation community. We've really leaned into that in the last several years. So it's a big deal for us, for this development, but I think it also signals to the rest of the world that Blaine's open for business. We're looking for those great synergies.
So anyways, we're not going to drain that video, but super freaking exciting. There are other locations that Shields has announced that they're opening as well. I will try to find that article and link it down below as well. But this is super exciting. It's the 6th Minnesota Shields, 250,000 square feet. If you live in Minnesota and you know of the Eden Prairie location, that's currently the one that I shop the most. That is also 250,000 square feet. So I would expect them to be fairly similar in layout, but we'll find out because that one also has a Ferris wheel in it too. So super exciting. 2028 can't come fast enough. I wish it was 2025 or 6. That would be great. And then there's an article here directly from the city of Blaine. But let's move on to everybody that is interested in potentially ice fishing. So Clam Outdoors announced, and this was about a week and a half ago, a new tip up that's coming out. It's not available on their website. It's not posted anywhere, but we do have some details as we kind of scroll through this post here. So there's a new tip up called the Watchtower tip up from Clam. The tip up has a fully insulated base, which a lot of tip ups do nowadays. 360-degree LED light on the top that activates when the flag is tripped. The flashing LED can be set to blue, red, or green and is visible from over 100 yards. The tip-up will be great for anglers, walleye fishing at night from a portable or wheelhouse. More info to come this fall on the Watchtower tip-up. Of course, it can be used on much more than just walleyes, of course. But here's a picture of it in action here after a guy caught a fish, obviously. Here's a look at that next to the hole. Here's a better look at it. So we got our typical tip-up base here. It looks like it's all black. Cover here where the batteries will go. Big round head on this thing that can slip down in this protected cover here. And of course, it's using normal mechanism to come up as well. We can see what it looks like here with the green light on it. And that's what we have for photos here. But what I thought was interesting is some of the stuff that was in the comments here. This comment I thought was awesome. So Mike, if you're watching, heck yeah, buddy. I think this is great. Hopefully they can do this before it releases, but I'm sure they've already got it already designed in China and everything's already on its way over, if not already over here in the US. So I doubt they'll be able to make this change, but it makes sense. Make it so it's a steady light when not tripped and flashing when a fish trips it. Then people will see them at night when they're driving sleds and trucks. I love that idea. I think a lot of people do. But I doubt they will be able to integrate that for this year, would be my guess. It'd be great if they could, though. Lots of things here. Clam was asked what the price is, and Clam said $119.99. So this is $120. And in terms of what does it use, the only thing you would need to replace on it are AAA batteries that power the light. so it will use AAA batteries. Lots of other comments in here. If you're interested in it, go check out the thread. I'll have it linked down below. All right. Now, in terms of some deals, Clam still has some deals going on their website. We talked about these last week. I'll link this page down below. Most of it is ice gear. A lot of it is, accessory type stuff that you're going to see in here. But one of the things that I actually saw that I was pretty excited about was this guy. The Time Bomb spoon is one of my favorite spoons to use. They're out of all the 1/8 ounce. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sorry. Let me flip back here. So Clam has the sale page. I'll link it down below. A ton of stuff on sale, like $24.99 down to $19.99, $20 off the ATV auger bracket. I'm not going to drain all of these, but this guy right here, Time Bomb spoons, are $2.99 right now, down from, I think it's $5 or $6 a piece. They've only got the 1/4 ounce left, so if you want to pick them up, look at this. You could get 1/4 ounce of each of the Gold Tiger, the Glow Fire Tiger, Glow Rainbow, and the Glow Purple Tiger for $11.96. Like, how do you not say yes to that? That's a pretty dang good deal. But they got a ton of other things: lures, tackle, accessories. This is one of the deals they got going. They still have the line. I know we talked about that last week as well. The Frost Ice line, I absolutely love. 2 other deals we got going here on the stream that I found out about and we're chatting about here is Northland Fishing Tackle. They've got some deals going on their website right now, which is their Rumble Series sale. 40% off all styles and colors is the big deal that they got going. And then 40% off the Gumball Jig Sale off the 12 and 15 pack. So I'll link their website down below if you are interested in picking anything up from them. They always do a nice job with their stuff. I buy so many of those Gumball jigs, like so many of them. They're my favorite open water jig. In terms of FishUSA, these deals refresh. So in literally 45 minutes, these deals will change. But as of right now, they got some trolling rods, some reels, but every day they've got deals going. So I'll drop a link and literally every day you can just hit the link and see what's on there. Some days are better than other days if you're looking for some good deals. So that is what we got for the show. I tried to do this 1.5 hour and we are at 27 minutes and 41 seconds. We got it done. Some people have been telling me, you got to go quicker, got to get through this stuff. And so we're going to see how it goes. I'm not feeling super hot right now, feeling a little under the weather. So appreciate each and every one of you that hung out here tonight. Let me know if there's anything else that you're seeing that's releasing or dropping. It's been a crazy last week for me. So next week, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more in here. I had like 7 other things I dropped out just to keep this one tight. We're going to see how this video performs. We've got other videos dropping on the channel. I think I've got 4 short videos, all under 5 minutes, that hit around some new iCast gear in the last week. Go check those out on the channel if you want to sit around and watch some more things. I'll also have a link to those down below in the description as soon as we get done here, so that way you can go check them out. Otherwise, just go to the YouTube page and you'll be able to find them. And I've got, I think, like 7 more videos to come out around all of the cool new stuff that I saw down at iCast. Then we'll get into some of the fall stuff that I got planned, which I'm super excited about. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thanks, Blaine. Take it easy, tight lines, and have a great